It's past 5 p.m., so we assume you're still full of energy and curious because you've stayed and you could have gone. So we'll try to make it worth your while. Great to have you all. Thank you for staying. The intent for us is to share with you some of what we are working on in the use of AI to further the work of UNICEF and to try to help really accelerate impact for children. And we have a few things to share, and we hope to keep you engaged. But first, let me turn over to my co-host, Viviana. Please, Viviana, it'd be lovely for you to tell the audience maybe who you are and what team you work in.
Hi, everyone. My name is Viviana Cañón Tamayo. I am UNICEF's Frontier Data Network Program Coordinator. And my role really is about connecting technology like AI with social impact. I had the opportunity to lead key partnerships with the private sector and the public sector, and I will be sharing something related to that later today. I'm really excited to be here, Thomas, as you are, and it will be great to share with you my journey and also learn more about yours.
Thank you. And for me, I'm the Global Director for Innovation. So for us, the Office of Innovation remit is really to accelerate results for children. And that is quite urgent because if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals and the indicators that connect to children, whether it is around education, healthcare, access to water, mental health, we would have to accelerate 400% the pace of progress we have seen over the last 15 years if we are to reach the Sustainable Development Goals connected to children. So there is an urgency there. The team that I lead focuses on what is radical innovation looking like to enable that. Some of that radical innovation is really looking at a new way of financing, blended finance, impact investing, evergreen investments, all of that. And of course, a big part of that is also around technology, drones, blockchain, the use of crypto and AI. So we are going to share some of that with you. But Viviana, maybe let's get into it. What team do you work in? What do you do? Maybe let's start there.
Sure, so I'm working in the Frontier Data Network team, and I would like to explain a little bit what is the model so people understand what it is really FDN. So we create the Frontier Data Network based on the idea that new technologies, AI, is advising really fast, and even for tech experts, is really difficult to keep up with new opportunities. And at the same time, growing challenges are happening for children. So today we're talking about misinformation, climate change, and some other things like future of jobs. And our question for us was, how can we make sure these innovations are going to support and protect children and the most vulnerable? The answer to this question was the Frontier Data Network, and the idea is we cannot do it alone, which means three things for us. We need to work more on problem definitions to make sure we listen from the field. As you can imagine, UNICEF is almost everywhere in every country. So the idea is really to make sure we are near to the problems. And then the idea is for us to connect with key partners from the academia and the private sector to make sure we can solve these problems through talent, data, and technology. And finally, we have this community approach which support us and inspire all of us. So this is really the Frontier Data Network, and I know, Thomas, you have a different approach, but really complementary. Please share that with us.
Sure. So the tech team that we have that focuses on AI works around two streams. The first one is trying to understand, in the sectors that we operate, what is AI usable as an accelerator of outcomes for children? So I give you an example. How do we create an AI assistant for teachers? We know that this is a huge problem in the world. The world, by the horizon 2030, we estimate will be short of 44 million teachers globally, because we cannot retain teachers in most countries of the world. I understand the same is true for France. Partly because they're overwhelmed, partly because they're underpaid, partly because they don't understand how to use technology and how they can champion that technology, and partly because they feel that they get very little status recognition and rewards for what they're doing. So part of what we're trying to imagine is, can we put AI as a companion for these teachers to help them draft a lesson plan, to help them maybe do a first review of the grades, to help them understand which child is too often sick, and maybe there is a problem of violence that is affecting that child. So all kinds of tools. And so the team works on delivering that prototype in a given country and then testing it out, saying if it works for teachers, and then we then scale it, because that's a problem that most countries that we work with are impacted by. So that's just one use case. The other aspect of our work on AI is we try to source solutions from the global south, so from the countries we operate in, whether it's Chile, Tanzania, Thailand. We do calls, and one call could look like, how do we identify adolescent that struggles with mental health in the world? Today, we know that we, as a global community, identify less than 13% of adolescents that struggle with mental health, which means we don't treat most adolescents that are actually challenged with mental health issues. So how do we get a step change into that? We make that call. We apply, we tell startups and entrepreneurs to apply to that call to help us understand maybe they have a technology solution that we can understand and then scale. We would get on average 300 to 500 applicants. All of the applicants have to be working in the global south, because that is the context in which we want to operate, because we don't use the same technology, we don't use the same cost ratio. And then we then make an investment of $50 to $100K, and we then accompany them to try that technology solution in a country. And part of what we take is not equity or debt, we take insights and learnings. And we operate on an open source platform so that whatever happens, we can take that again across the globe. So that's one way that we use our AI across a number of sectors. But let's go maybe to Planet and go deeper, because we are in a Planet platform. Let's talk about maybe one of your key priorities, which is, I think the title is quite intriguing. It's called, I think, Ahead of the Storm.
It is.
Please share.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, in fact, Ahead of the Storm is one of our key initiatives, and it's really about climate emergencies as a children problem. So as you can imagine, and you saw before in some of the presentations, there are many innovations in this space, right? Innovations from NOAA, from CMWF, and also from the private sector with Google Alpha Earth. And these innovations are not thinking about children. And at the same time, we are hearing from our country offices in Nicaragua, in Jamaica, Kenya, Bangladesh, and also from regions, West and Central Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, telling us we don't know how to do better. We don't know how to react better and plan. So what we have created is this initiative called Ahead of the Storm, which is about trying to identify, to move forward the AI ecosystem, to identify how can we tackle this problem together and move forward this specific topic, and then provide also solutions in the field for the countries. So we have tests, for example, with Nicaragua this year, before with Melissa, if you have heard about the hurricane. We have tests with the MIT Sloan. How can we build a model that then they can apply with this children lens? So it is really about thinking about, what are their needs, what are the infrastructure that is important for them. 1 billion children are in countries considered at high risk of climate change. So this is not like a nice to have. It's really, really needed. At the same time, we're working also with other important partners, as the Royal Bank of Canada in this Let's Solve It program, to see how can we use LLMs to extract data from reports in the past, so we can create this database for impact. So this is Ahead of the Storm. It's a platform that can build with many needs and projects as an umbrella. And also, it is very connected with something you are doing, Thomas. It is a project that I particularly love, and is the air pollution modeling in Laos. I think it's great. Please share that with the audience.
So this started with the understanding that climate is affecting all of us, but it's affecting all of us differently. And so part of what we realized is climate pollution is actually killing children, and it's an invisible killer, because the children have much smaller lungs than adults do. they get affected actually much more drastically. They die a lot more easily. And even if they don't die, if they are affected by pollution at young age, their lungs are scarred, and so it actually impacts their whole lifestyle. So part of what we've done is we've worked on models to understand air pollution in urban settings and in rural settings, and the concentration of our air pollution, and we helped create essentially alert monitors around air pollution levels that were then installed by children and teachers in school and managed by children. And so in doing that, we enabled a system that was going from the sky onwards, saying the pollution is higher, and schools were able to say, actually in my region, maybe because I live on the mountaintop area or in the valley, it is actually much higher than what you are anticipating at the national level or at the regional level. And based on that, we were able to help the Laos system of education to create levels by which they were saying, if it reaches that level, you all stay in classes because it's dangerous for you to come out. So you don't actually go out for play, it's more dangerous. And if it reaches that level, you don't come to school at all for the next day, so that we protect you. So it's been quite powerful, and we're hoping to now scale this across a number of countries in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, we need to scale up this project. Really, really interesting. And this is only one country investment, right? Because you have a big portfolio on climate. So, share if you want.
So we're trying to do as much as we can. Part of what we do with the venture work on climate is trying to understand again how entrepreneurs are using AI in their local capabilities to then have a ground up of solutions that we can learn from and emulate. One is called Equinox. It's happening in India. It actually relates to two panels earlier, where the person was saying again on meteorology anticipation, and that is to anticipate floods at a local level. And so we are using, in India, floods affecting pockets near lakes or low-level habitations, for people to say, okay, there is flood coming, there is forecast of floods, but I can tell you that in my community, at my level, floods is already here. And so we're using community as a way to bridge the meteorological pattern and to then help the AI system of the meteorological agency to get better and better at saying in those areas the floods will be harder and will be more impactful. And we also enable them to say, therefore, those places should be uninhabited. We should not build in those areas. So that, thanks to the community layers, we're helping the AI get better and better. Another example is in Uruguay, we have worked with an entrepreneur that actually is building an AI-informed marketplace that helps connect people who are using individual houses, solar panels, and then connecting those to people who are trying to buy carbon credits, so that we actually get the people who are the lowest income in those communities to get connected to people and industries who need to buy carbon credits to keep working. And that is quite exciting. Potentially, it's going to really bring a community-level engagement. We're getting close to time out, so I want to maybe spend some time on partnership, because really we talk about a lot of the work and it's, I think, super exciting, but it's a community, an ecosystem. Can you share maybe how you look at that partnership layer?
Yeah, the way we do partnerships is also changing, and one partnership I would like to share is the development data partnership. So as you can imagine, if we don't have the data we need, there will be impossible to really do AI. So we started in this project, which is called the Development Data Partnership, DDP. It was launched by the World Bank some years ago, and UNICEF became a member 2 years ago. And through this partnership, the idea is to connect more with companies that are willing to share data with organizations like UNICEF and some others. And then thanks to this collaboration, today UNICEF has access to JBA data on flooding, and also UCLA data, which is about connectivity. So I like this type of partnerships because it's like a model for us. And the second type of partnerships is how we work with academia. So the MIT Sloan, they have like a capstone project every year. So what we do now is we connect with this project, and then we have the privilege to have really skilled people working with us for 7 months and helping us in these amazing key initiatives. And then there are some others, but I see the time, and I would like you more to also tell us about that.
So we are about to be booted off the stage. We hope we kept you alive and engaged. And if you're interested, please come. And if you're interested in partnership or in joining some of the efforts, we'd love to talk. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
I know you love to talk. I saw it. And it was great. Thank you so much.